What defines us as humans is our ability to push ourselves to the edge of our comfort zone, to the place we've never been before. Even when we feel that we are ready to toss in the towel and call it quits, we remind ourselves to go one more. How do we do that? One, we become our biggest hype man or hype woman. We recognize it is our responsibility to cheer ourselves on even when nobody is on the sidelines rooting for us. Number two, we push ourselves to the edge. The unimaginable becomes our norm by us pushing our inner potential further and further. And number three, we appreciate the growth. We use the progress we've made thus far as fuel to the fire inside us. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to It's the Bearded Man Podcast with your favorite, the world's favorite bearded man, Bob Bay. Episode 71, Go One More, our ticket to reaching our inner potential. When I'm on that last rep of my last set of my workout of the day, and I feel like giving up, I tell myself these three words. When I'm hitting mile 6.9 of that 7-mile run I went out for, and my legs don't feel like they have much left in them, I tell myself these three words. When I'm editing a podcast late in the evening after a long day of work and I just want to snuggle up and go to bed and pass out, I tell myself these three words. Go one more. What defines us as humans is our ability to tune out the voice in our head that is telling us to give up and toss in the towel. What defines us as humans is our ability to push ourselves to the edge of our comfort zone, to the place that we never have been before. What defines us as humans is our ability to go one more, even when we don't feel we have the juice inside of us. That is what we're here to talk about today, ladies and gentlemen. Mindset over anything. Go one more. That's the mentality to be carrying with us moving forward. Got to give credit where credit is due. Shout out to my man, Nick Bear. You may never hear this, but you never know. Maybe the world will put it right into his recommended podcast episodes, and he'll see the lovely bearded man face, but I'm not going to hold my breath. I am taking this out of Nick Bear's book. And who is Nick Bear? He's the founder of BPN Supplements. He's a U.S. Army veteran. He's the host of Bear Performance Podcast. And he's also the author of 25 Hours a Day, which I highly, highly recommend you guys and gals check out. I just read the book. Very easy read. But just, it gives you that little bit of extra kick in your day when you need it the most. And I would follow him on IG if I was you. At Nick Bear Fitness. That's NickBareFitness for daily inspo and life inspiration. And let him know the Bearded Man sent you. But this man is a heavy inspiration on me, and he's a big part as to the reason of why I'm going out there to run the LA Marathon this year, and why I'm so inspired to get up and get out of bed every morning and just get after the day. This go one more mentality has been something that has become part of my life more than just my fitness lifestyle, but even when it comes to doing these podcasts. One more episode, one more rep in the gym, one more mile while running, one more shoot in the shot of the DM. Go one more. It's just part of me now. It's the mindset, and I love it so much that I wanted to share with you guys and gals today in the hopes that it would help someone out there. So needless to say, I'm a big fan of Nick. He is certainly my hero, and he's somebody that I aspire to be like someday. This go one more mindset. Do you need to be training for a marathon or own a supplement company or be a veteran to have this mindset? Absolutely not. I'm sure Nick would agree if he was sitting here today participating on this episode that it is a learned mindset. It is something that anyone can be taught and added to their life. Someone like myself, I'm teaching myself how to incorporate this mindset into my day. And I'm sure Nick would agree that this mindset is a product of so many moments in his life that have led him to where he is today. And that's why he lives by this go one more mindset. But why? Why live by this? Why are these three words so important? Tell us, Bearded Man. I know what you guys and gals are probably asking yourself. I don't know about you, but far from today, when I'm old, lying in that deathbed with a fire-ass beard and a great lineup, low fade all around for sure, I want to look back on my life and think, you know what? I sure as hell gave it my all. I went one more every chance I had the opportunity, whether it was career, whether it was physical health, whether it was these podcasts, whether it was anything in my life. I want to look back and know that I went one more, that I went for it. To go one more means to give life everything you've got. It's squeezing out that last bit of gas in the tank when the car's on E and it's making all those noises signaling, hey, you need to get gas, just stop now. If you're hearing this podcast, you have the ability to go one more because you value your own inner potential. Otherwise, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. You would not be wasting your time listening to It's the Bearded Man podcast. You wouldn't care what I have to say or this little bearded wisdom. You wouldn't be wasting your time here because there's so many other podcasts. If you are hearing my voice right now, okay, 1, I love you. But 2, you are somebody that values your own inner potential. And so today, tips on going one more. Let's get into it. But before we do, all that I ask, please, 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 you guys and gals know the drill. If you enjoy this podcast at all, screenshot this episode, post it to your IG story, tag me at Bob-A, B-O, 3 B's, 4 A's, and a Y. It is so much and greatly appreciated. This is how we grow this podcast organically. I don't ask for money. I don't ask for nothing. All that I ask is you share this out, tag me on your IG story at Bob-A, B-O, 3 B's, 4 A's, and a Y, and I would greatly, greatly appreciate it. Let the world know why you listen to this podcast. Let them know that they sleeping on the bearded man. We're going worldwide soon enough, baby. Sit tight. Buckle up. Let's go. Number 1, be your biggest hype man or hype woman. To go that one more mindset, to live by it, we need to become our biggest hype man and hype woman. I've talked about this concept many of times on this podcast, and sometimes we need to hear the lesson a million times before it clicks on the millionth and one time, okay? We have to become our biggest hype man or hype woman, and we can't expect anyone else to do it for us. Not our mother, not our father, grandfather, grandmother, aunt, uncle, cousin, neighbor, or teacher. It's our responsibility to cheer ourselves on, even when nobody is on the sidelines rooting for us. It is on me, the bearded man, Bob-A, Bobby Hober, Robert John Hober. It's on me to be my biggest hype man. I can use the hype from people supporting me, and I love it. Anybody that encourages me. But at the end of the day, I know I need to create that within me. And that goes the same for anyone that's out there. We need to create the fire. We can spread that fire. We can get other people jumped on board and fired up just as much as we are. But we need to start the fire before anybody else can. When I'm about to toss in the towel at mile 6.9 of 7, you better believe I'm screaming inside my head or even out loud, you got this, bearded man. This is light work. Keep going. No pain, no gain, baby. People I run by on the sidewalk are probably asking themselves, who is this psychopath? But I don't care. I will care if they call the police, but hopefully they don't. And it hasn't happened yet. But I will legit scream out loud and yell to myself, keep going if I need to get that extra push when I'm ready to give up. These people that see me running down the road like a psychopath are not the ones cheering me on. I'm not worried about that. So I will be. I will be the one that's cheering myself on. This isn't just for a fitness lifestyle, like I've said. This can be for any area of your life. When you need that extra push, hype yourself up. Tell yourself good thoughts. Write down, or literally write them down if you need to. If saying it out loud doesn't help, write them down or legit scream them if you need to. Whatever you need to do to get it through your head, do it. It's our responsibility to keep ourselves up and moving because everyone else has their own personal lives to worry about. Become your biggest hype man or hype woman. You got this. Number 2, push yourself to the edge. Ooh, do I love this. If you've even made it this far into this podcast episode right now, episode 71, the greatest episode so far yet in the Bearded Man podcast, you need to make a promise with me right here, right now. From this moment moving forward, for the rest of your life, you will never, ever give up or toss in the towel until you have pushed yourself to the edge. And what do I mean by that? You ever heard of a song called Lose Yourself by Eminem? I'm sure many of you have. Lyrics go something like this. If you had one shot or one opportunity to seize everything you've ever wanted in one moment, would you capture it or just let it slip? Now, if I had any amount of flow, I would have rapped that to you guys and gals like Eminem did, but I don't want to disrespect him, and I don't want to scare you guys and gals off this episode, so I read it to you. That is how we need to look at every moment moving forward. Are we willing to give our career, our dreams, our health, our relationships, our loved ones, everything we've got, or do we want to let it slip through our fingertips? A funny thing happens as we begin to push ourselves to the edge, the place that we never thought we'd be able to go. The edge, our bar or our perception for how far we think we can go gets pushed farther and further. The unimaginable becomes our norm. Then the next unimaginable becomes our norm yet again. This doesn't just happen with a flip of a switch, but by us consistently pushing ourselves to our ultimate potential. Never in my life did I think I'd have the ability to run a half marathon, but I did a few weeks ago, right? If you follow me on IG, you probably see me post about it, talk about it. You're probably like, sick, bearded man, we get it. You ran a half marathon. Let's move on. I get that. Stick with me. There's a little lesson, a little gem in all this. By me continuously pushing myself to the edge of running over and over again, I was able to get to that half marathon. When I started running, when the pandemic hit back in March of 2020, which is a year ago, because at the time of this recording, this is March 1st, I could barely get 2 miles done without feeling completely gassed. I mean, just absolutely huffing and puffing. You would have thought that I had I just couldn't breathe. It was pretty bad. But then I kept running, consistently running as much as I could. So then I worked myself up to 4 miles, and then to 7, and then to 10, and then to half a marathon. I kept pushing myself to the edge, and in doing so, my edge started to get pushed out further and further. Now, like I said, when I was just getting started running, at barely getting 2 miles a day, if you had told me that at that moment in time, one day you're going to run 14 miles, I would have said, you're out of your mind. There's not a chance I'm ever going to run consistently on the same day, on the same run, 14 miles. But little did I know at the time that I would continuously work on running, that eventually it would build up. And similarly, like everything else, our edge gets pushed out as we consistently show up and do the work for any area of our life. And eventually, that edge for me was the half marathon, and the next will now be a full marathon. Close your eyes and think about what edges you may be scared to reach in your own lives. How does it feel visualizing yourself at that actual edge? Does it get you fired up, excited, and eager to get there? Because I bet it does. Open your eyes and start pushing yourself to make that feeling a reality. In order for us to get to that ultimate inner potential, we need to push ourselves to go one more, to get ourselves to the edge, even when we're tapped out and ready to call it quits. Push yourself to the edge. Wherever you are right now in this moment in time, that edge might seem like so far away and it might feel impossible, but believe me when I tell you this, it is possible. It is doable. Brick by brick, day by day. It's the same motto, same mindsets that we've heard millions of times on other podcasts on mindset and growth. We can get there. 1% per day. That's the name of the game. Let's take a quick little hydration break, a little chug of the water on 3. Get your waters up with B.O.B. 1, 2, 3. Can we make this like a weekly episode thing? Because I already pretty much do this. That's beautiful. It's just so good. Shout out to Venice Water Department, if that's such a thing, because the water keeps me hydrated. Thank you so much. All right, number 3, appreciate the growth. So if you mix a combo of being our biggest hype man or hype woman, plus pushing ourselves to the edge, then our growth potential is exponential. Let me say that one more time. if you mix a combo of being our biggest hype man / hype woman, plus pushing ourselves to the edge, our growth potential is exponential. As we begin to push ourselves to go one more, to reach our inner potential, we need to appreciate the growth because it's what keeps us going. As I said before, our unimaginable becomes our norm, and the cycle repeats. So it's important that we stop, we appreciate the growth along the way, and it reminds us to keep going. Why? Because it'll fire us up inside when we need it the most. It'll inspire us in moments we question our own inner potential, which, hands up right here, Bearded Man, do it, done it, still do it to this day, but I've gotten better at cutting out that voice. And also, it'll give us that little extra push when we need it the most. Some days will be better than others, or vice versa. And when you need to give yourself that little extra boost, just stop and think about the growth you've had and how much more room you have to go. So for me, as an example, thinking about running a marathon, yes, it gets me nervous, okay? I couldn't go out there and just do it today. But when I think about all the many steps that I've taken to get to the half marathon, I know that I can do it. There are many moments in our lives that have led us to where we are today, and although we may not be exactly where we want to be just yet, we should take time to appreciate the growth that has gotten us thus far. If you're listening to my podcast, there's a lot of things I do not know about you. I don't know your name. I don't know your hair color. I don't know who your favorite artist is or favorite podcaster. Hopefully the Bearded Man, but we won't say anything. Your favorite ice cream, where you are right now, if you went to college, or what your favorite color is. I don't know much about you unless you send me an answer of all these questions to my DM, which, hey, DMs are always open. You know that. But what I do know is you're someone that wants to push yourself. You want to see yourself grow. You are someone that has dreams and wants to learn how to make them your reality. That's what this podcast is all about. I've been trying to figure that out. Bearded Man, what's the point of these podcast episodes, whether it's a solo or the guest? In one line, I want to help you guys and gals reach your inner potential because that's what I'm striving to do every single day. And the good news is, if you're listening now, you can and you will. By being aware, by doing the work, by taking notes and trying to listen to a podcast, not saying I'm an expert, not saying I got all the answers, but by listening to me who thinks he knows a little bit of something or wants to share a little bit of wisdom, you're taking the right step because you're actually putting your time and effort into your own self and learning the tricks and the skill sets to reach your ultimate potential. All we need to do is continue to push ourselves to go one more in every aspect of our life, to give it everything we've got, to not let it slip by keeping our foot on the gas until the gas runs dry. When you need that extra little push when you're ready to give up, I want you to chant these 3 words 3 times. Go one more. Go one more. Go one more. That's the mindset. Thank you to Nick Bear. This has forever impacted my life and is something that I use every single day in all these little moments in my life when I'm ready to toss in the towel or I don't think I have the energy in me. I remind myself, go one more. And if it wasn't for Nick, I wouldn't have recorded this podcast episode. So, man, the guy plays a huge inspiration to me, and I know the impact it can have on, I know the impact he's had on me, and I hope that one day I can have the impact on some of you out there that take the time to listen to this podcast. So, to recap, what defines us as humans is our ability to push ourselves to the edge of our comfort zone to the place we've never been before. Even when we feel that we are ready to toss in the towel and call it quits, we remind ourselves to go one more. How do we do that? 1, we become our biggest hype man or hype woman. We recognize it is our responsibility to cheer ourselves on even when nobody is on the sidelines rooting for us. Number 2, we push ourselves to the edge. The unimaginable becomes our norm by us pushing our inner potential further and further. And number 3, we appreciate the growth. We use the progress we've made thus far as fuel to the fire inside us. That's the name of the game, ladies and gentlemen. Go one more. BMC, Bearded Man Community. That's you listening right now. If it's your first time listening to one of these podcasts, you're already in. No application necessary. Welcome to the Bearded Man Community, the BMC. We have one question submitted for today's podcast from Cigar. He asks, how do you get yourself to work/concentrate when there's external problems such as family, financial, relationship problems? Cigar, that's a great question. Personally, what I try to do is this is going to sound crazy when I say this. I literally try to treat moments like this in my life, whether I'm having any of those types of issues or anything other than that, flip like a light switch. Snap of fingers. Your mindset or whatever's in your mind, you have to turn it on and off. At some point when you're trying to work and you're trying to focus on whatever's in front of you right now, we need to look at our energy and our attention as something that's very valuable. And if we're letting it focus on these family issues, these financial issues, these relationships problems, we're never actually going to be able to show up and do the work or do the thing that is in front of us right now. So it's a lot of this comes back from meditation and being present. And so if it's, for instance, a family issue, something happened last week, a family member said something mean to you and it's stuck in your head, at some moment in time, you have to ask yourself, is me thinking about this right now going to benefit what I have in front of me? So for instance, me recording this podcast, is me thinking about my family going to benefit as I record this podcast? Is me thinking about the money I owe for student loans going to help me with this podcast? Is the girl that didn't give me the shot that I wish gave me a shot months ago, is thinking about that right now going to benefit me in this podcast? No. I have to compartmentalize and understand at this moment in time, I need to focus on what is in front of me, which is this podcast. Maybe later tonight, when I'm sitting around and I'm relaxing, I can think about the family issue or the financial issue or the relationship problem. But you have to ask yourself, is this benefiting me to think about right now? We have to spend time, especially when we're trying to move on from somebody or we are trying to figure out financial issues within our lives or family issues. You know, once again, I can only speak on some of the suggestions that Cigar suggested. We have to compartmentalize and pick pockets of time in our day, in our week, or in our month to spend time and think about these situations. But at some point in time, we need to focus on other things because us spending every hour of every minute of every day, matter of fact, every second, is not going to help us. So we have to pick pockets and address them when necessary, and then just like a flip of a switch, time to go on to the next thing, put that to the side and get back to it. So, Cigar, I hope that is helpful. Whatever you're going through, brother, keep a positive mindset, keep your head held high, and keep going forward. You will get through it. If you guys and gals enjoyed this podcast, please, all that I ask, screenshot this episode, post it to your IG story, tag me at Bob-A, B-O, 3 B's, 4 A's, and a Y, and let me know what you thought of the podcast. This is how we grow this baby organically, and it is so much appreciated for those taking the time to do so. So that's it. Episode 71, Go One More, our ticket to reaching our inner potential. Really appreciate you guys and gals taking the time to listen to this podcast. Please hit me up on IG. I'm always looking for some feedback, and I just want to keep building out this community. And I think the one thing I'm trying to get better at is just asking myself, why? Why am I doing this podcast? Which I still genuinely do this because I want to help the version of myself that was 22, didn't know what he wanted to do with his life. I'm continuously making content for that same person, and I hope that it is helpful to those out there who are in the journey of reaching their own inner potential. So any feedback is always appreciated, and just you guys and gals taking the time to listen means the world to me, so thank you so much. Thanks for tuning in. It's the Bearded Man Podcast. See you.